My name is Angela Ferris. I'm 29 years old. The rain hammered against the cheap motel's tin roof like someone was throwing stones. The hallway light flickered. Wind slipped through every crack in the door. So cold I couldn't feel my fingertips. My daughter was asleep, but not peacefully. She flinched whenever thunder cracked. Lips pressed tight like she was swallowing a cry. Lately, Sophie has been having nightmares. I kissed her forehead, ice cold, and wondered how a child could be made to endure this. 3 weeks ago, my husband's family accused me of cheating while he was missing at sea. They threw me and my 5-year-old daughter out with 2 suitcases and $216 in cash. No explanation, no hearing, no proof that mattered. They thought I'd disappear quietly, accept their version of the truth and fade away. They didn't know I'd spent 18 months collecting every Coast Guard report, every maintenance log, every piece of evidence that proved Nathan's accident wasn't an accident at all. They didn't know the lawyer they accused me of sleeping with was actually building a federal case. And they definitely didn't know that at 2:47 a.m. on February 28th, while my daughter slept in a motel room I could barely afford, someone would knock on our door. I opened it, and everything I thought I knew about my husband's family shattered. 3 weeks earlier, the last Sunday dinner. I remember every detail of that night. The dining room at Douglas and Diane Ferris's house in McLean, Virginia. Mahogany table, crystal glasses, candlelight that made everyone's face look softer than it was. I'd been living there for almost 2 years, ever since Nathan went missing. February 12th, 2023. That's the date that split my life in two. Nathan was a Coast Guard rescue swimmer stationed in Kodiak, Alaska. Aviation Survival Technician, AST for short. He jumped out of helicopters into freezing water to save people who'd already accepted they were going to die. He was good at it. The best, his team said. That night, a fishing vessel got caught in a Category 4 storm. 18-foot waves. Wind gusts over 60 miles per hour. The MH-60 Jayhawk helicopter lifted off at 10:52 p.m. Nathan was the swimmer. He always was. The last time I heard his voice was 11:23 p.m. "Angel, I love you. Tell Sophie I'll bring her back a starfish." Static. Then nothing. The helicopter had engine trouble. The auxiliary power unit failed mid-flight. Nathan jumped anyway. He pulled 2 fishermen out of the water, got them into the basket, signaled for the hoist. Then a wave took him under. They searched for 12 days. Coast Guard, Navy helicopters, volunteer boats. They found pieces of his gear, his rescue helmet, 1 glove. They never found Nathan. On May 20th, 2023, 3 months and 8 days after he disappeared, the Coast Guard officially declared him presumed dead. There was a memorial service. No body, no casket. Just a folded flag and a room full of people who kept saying he died a hero. I didn't feel like a widow. I felt like someone in limbo, stuck between grief and hope, unable to move forward because I didn't know if I was supposed to let go or keep waiting. Douglas and Diane offered me a place to stay. "Your family," Diane said. "Sophie needs stability." I didn't have anywhere else to go. Nathan and I had rented an apartment in Kodiak. After he died, I couldn't afford it. I quit my job as a paramedic when Sophie was born. Nathan's schedule was unpredictable, and someone had to be home. So I moved into their house, the house Nathan grew up in. For the first year, they treated me kindly. Diane watched Sophie while I went to therapy. Douglas helped me file paperwork for Nathan's pension. James, Nathan's older brother, even stopped by sometimes with groceries. I thought they cared. I didn't know they were watching me, waiting for me to become a problem. It started small. November 2023. I was reading the Coast Guard's incident report for the 100th time when I noticed something odd. The weather data didn't match the NOAA records. The report said wind speed was 42 knots. NOAA's archive showed 61. It was a small discrepancy, probably just a clerical error. But it bothered me. I started digging. I requested the full maintenance logs for the helicopter under the Freedom of Information Act. It took months, but in June 2024, I finally got them. Half the document was redacted, blacked out, classified. Why would routine maintenance records be classified? I asked Douglas. He's a retired Navy admiral. If anyone would know, it was him. He looked at me over his reading glasses. Angela, sometimes the government redacts things for operational security. It doesn't mean there's a conspiracy. I'm not saying there's a conspiracy. I just want to understand what happened to my husband. Your husband died serving his country. Isn't that enough? It wasn't. In November 2024, I hired a lawyer. His name was Thomas Crawford, maritime law specialist out of Boston. He'd handled cases against the Coast Guard before. I didn't tell the Ferris family. Thomas filed new FOIA requests. He asked for supplier contracts, safety inspection reports, names of the companies that provided parts for the MH-60 fleet. The Coast Guard pushed back. They claimed national security. They delayed. They redacted even more. But Thomas was persistent, and in early January 2025, we got a break. One document slipped through. A contract between the Coast Guard and a private supplier, the company's name, Sentinel Maritime Group, Douglas Ferris's company. I didn't confront him right away. I wanted to be sure. Thomas and I spent 2 weeks verifying, cross-referencing. The contract was worth $18 million annually. Sentinel Maritime supplied replacement parts for helicopters, rotors, engine components, auxiliary power units, the same APU that failed the night Nathan died. Thomas found something else, a pattern. Over the past 3 years, there had been 6 incidents involving Sentinel-supplied parts, malfunctions, near crashes, 1 fatality. The Coast Guard had flagged it, opened an internal review. Then the review was quietly closed. No explanation. I should have been more careful. I should have known they were watching. But I wasn't thinking about operational security. I was thinking about my husband. On January 8, 2025, I made a mistake. I sent Thomas an email from my personal account. Subject line, Sentinel Maritime, next steps. James Ferris saw it. Sunday dinner, January 8th, 6:30 p.m. The whole family was there. Douglas, Diane, James and his wife, Patricia, their 2 kids. Rebecca, Nathan's older sister, had flown in from Washington, D.C. She worked for the Defense Intelligence Agency. She rarely came home. I should have known something was wrong the moment I walked in. Everyone was already seated, waiting. Douglas stood. Angela, sit down. Sophie tugged my hand. Mommy, why does Grandpa sound mad? He's not mad, sweetie. Go play with your cousins upstairs. But now, Sophie, she left, slowly, looking back at me like she knew something bad was coming. I sat. James pulled out his phone, set it on the table, turned the screen toward me. It was my email, to Thomas Crawford. Who is he? James asked. My throat went dry. He's my lawyer. Your lawyer? James laughed. It wasn't a friendly sound. Why do you need a lawyer, Angela? I'm trying to get answers about Nathan's death. You mean you're trying to blame someone? Douglas leaned forward. Sentinel Maritime is my company. Are you accusing me of killing my own son? I'm not accusing anyone. I just want to know why the APU failed. Equipment fails. It's tragic. But it's not a conspiracy. Then why are the records redacted? Because they contain sensitive information. About what? That's classified. I looked at Diane. She was staring at her plate, silent. How did you get my emails? I asked James. He didn't answer. You hacked my account. I protected this family, James said. You've been sneaking around, meeting with this man, lying to us. I never lied. You said you were going to therapy. You said you were visiting friends. He scrolled through more emails. November 15th, meeting with TC at 2 p.m. December 3rd, TC called, discussed APU failure analysis. January 2nd, lunch with TC to review documents. TC Thomas Crawford, your lawyer. James's voice dripped with contempt. Or is he more than that? What are you implying? I'm not implying anything. I'm stating a fact. You've been meeting a man in secret for months. You've been hiding it from this family. Nathan's been gone less than 2 years, and you're already— Stop. My voice came out louder than I intended. Thomas Crawford is my attorney. I hired him to investigate Nathan's death. That's it. Diane finally spoke. Why didn't you tell us? Because I knew you'd react like this. Douglas stood. You're living under my roof, eating my food. I've supported you and your daughter for 2 years. And this is how you repay me? By accusing my company of negligence? By hiring lawyers behind my back? I'm trying to find out what happened to Nathan. Nathan died in a storm. That's what happened. The maintenance logs. Enough. Douglas's voice was cold, final. I want you out of this house. The room went silent. What? You heard me. I want you out. This house belongs to me. Nathan didn't own it. You have no legal claim to it. I'm giving you 30 days. Find somewhere else to live. Douglas, please. 30 days, Angela. Be grateful I'm not making it sooner. I looked around the table. James was watching me with something like satisfaction. Patricia looked uncomfortable but said nothing. Rebecca's face was unreadable. Diane was crying. I stood. My legs felt numb. Fine, I'll leave. One more thing. Douglas pulled an envelope from his jacket, slid it across the table. This is a notice of intent. Diane is filing for custody of Sophie. The floor tilted. You can't do that. We can, and we will. You're unstable. No income. No home. You're spending money on lawyers instead of taking care of your daughter. A court will see that. I've taken care of Sophie every single day since Nathan died. In my house. With my money. Douglas sat back down. A judge will ask what kind of mother drags her child into a motel because she's too proud to accept help. What kind of mother prioritizes a conspiracy theory over her daughter's well-being? I couldn't breathe. This is insane. This is reality. Douglas folded his hands. You have 2 choices. You can leave quietly, drop the lawsuit, stop harassing my company, and we'll make sure Sophie is taken care of. Or we'll take her from you, and you'll have nothing. I grabbed my purse, walked out. Sophie was at the top of the stairs. She'd been listening. Mommy? I picked her up. She was getting too big to carry, but I didn't care. We're going on an adventure, I said. Where? I don't know yet, baby, but it's going to be okay. I didn't know it yet, but I'd just made the biggest mistake of my life. I left without a fight. February 9th, 2025. The eviction deadline. I'd spent the past month looking for work. I applied to 14 jobs. Paramedic, EMT, even Walmart and CVS. 3 interviews. No offers. No one wants to hire someone who's been out of the workforce for 5 years. No one wants to hire someone with no permanent address. I had $1,050 in savings. Nathan's life insurance never paid out. You can't collect on a presumed death until 7 years have passed. His pension went to his parents. I was on my own. Douglas didn't come to see me off. Neither did James. Diane showed up with a check for $500. Guilt money. I'm sorry, she said. Douglas is just protecting the family. By throwing me out? You don't understand the pressure he's under. The company, the investigation. What investigation? She stopped. Realized she'd said too much. What investigation, Diane? I have to go. She left. I never cashed the check. Rebecca was the only one who helped me pack. She didn't say much. Just carried boxes. When we were done, she handed me a piece of paper. What's this? Motels in the area. The ones that take cash. No credit check. I looked at her. Why are you helping me? Because you're family, and families don't abandon each other. Your father just did. Rebecca's jaw tightened. My father makes a lot of mistakes. She left before I could ask what she meant. I chose the Starlight Motel off Route 58 in South Hill, Virginia. $62 a night. But they had a weekly rate, $270. $39 a night average. Room 12B, 1 bed. A bathroom with a dripping faucet. A TV that only got 3 channels. Sophie cried the first night. I want to go home. This is home now, sweetie. I don't like it here. Neither did I. That was 3 weeks ago. The knock came at 2:47 a.m. I wasn't asleep. I'd been staring at the ceiling, listening to the rain, trying to figure out how to make $216 last another week. 3 sharp knocks. Deliberate. Not the kind of knock you ignore. I got up, looked through the peephole. Rebecca. She wasn't alone. 2 men stood behind her. Dark suits. Serious faces. I opened the door a crack. What are you doing here? We need to go. What? Angela, listen to me. There's no time. Don't pack. Don't call anyone. Just come with me. It's almost 3 in the morning. I know what time it is. One of the men stepped forward. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with the kind of posture that screamed military. Mrs. Ferris, my name is Agent Torres. This is Agent Chen. We're with the FBI. You and your daughter are in immediate danger. Danger from what? Not here. Rebecca's voice was urgent. Angela, please, trust me. You're Douglas's daughter. Why would I trust you? Because Nathan is alive. The world stopped. What? Your husband didn't die in that storm. He's been alive this whole time. And if we don't leave right now, you and Sophie are going to end up dead. I should have slammed the door. I should have called the police. But Rebecca's eyes were desperate. And I'd spent 2 years wondering if Nathan was really gone. Give me 2 minutes. I woke Sophie. She was groggy, confused. I wrapped her in a blanket, grabbed her Elsa doll, and followed Rebecca into the hallway. A black Chevrolet Suburban was idling in the parking lot. Engine running, tinted windows. Rebecca opened the back door. Get in. I hesitated. Please, Angela. I got in. Sophie climbed onto my lap. Agent Torres slid into the driver's seat. Agent Chen sat in the passenger side. Rebecca sat next to me. The doors locked. We pulled out of the parking lot, fast. I looked back. In the dim glow of the motel's neon sign, I saw another car. Parked 50 yards away. Headlights off. Someone had been watching us. Rebecca saw me looking. That's why we had to move fast. Who is that? Someone my father hired. My stomach dropped. What are you talking about? Rebecca turned to face me. Her eyes were red, like she'd been crying. Angela, I need you to listen very carefully. Everything I'm about to tell you is going to sound insane, but it's the truth. And I need you to believe me. I held Sophie tighter. Start talking. Nathan didn't die in the storm. He survived. A fishing boat pulled him out of the water. They didn't report it because they were fishing in a restricted zone. They would have been fined. They took him to a small clinic in Cordova, Alaska. No official records. He was in bad shape. Broken ribs, punctured lung, hypothermia. But he lived. That's impossible. They searched for 12 days. They searched the wrong area. The current carried him 3 miles north. If Nathan's alive, why didn't he come home? Rebecca's voice dropped. Because while he was recovering, he figured out why the helicopter failed. It wasn't an accident, Angela. Someone sabotaged it. I stared at her. Who? My father. The rain hammered harder. Sophie shifted in my arms. I couldn't process what Rebecca was saying. Douglas wouldn't kill his own son. He didn't mean to. The sabotage wasn't targeted at Nathan. It was a cost-cutting measure. Sentinel Maritime has been supplying substandard parts to the Coast Guard for 3 years. Parts manufactured in China, labeled as American-made. My father pocketed the difference. $6 million. That's insane. Nathan found maintenance logs, photos of serial numbers that didn't match the originals. He contacted the FBI in June 2023. That's when they put him in witness protection. I felt like I was going to be sick. Witness protection. He's been testifying, building a case. The FBI told him he couldn't contact anyone, not even you, because they didn't know how deep the corruption went. They didn't know if our family was involved. Are they? Rebecca's silence was answer enough. Who else knows? James helped Douglas cover it up. He hacked Coast Guard databases, altered inspection reports. Diane doesn't know. She thinks Nathan is dead. And you? I found out in August 2023. I overheard a phone call. Douglas and James talking about the Nathan problem. I confronted my father. He denied everything, so I went to the FBI. You're working with them? I'm an informant, not an agent. I don't have any authority. I just feed them information. Documents from my father's office, recordings, whatever I can get. Why are you telling me this now? Rebecca's voice broke. Because 2 nights ago, I heard my father on the phone with someone, a man with an Eastern European accent. Douglas said, the woman and the kid, both. Make it look like an accident. I'll wire the second half after it's done. I stopped breathing. He hired someone to kill us? You've been digging into Sentinel Maritime. You hired Thomas Crawford. Douglas is terrified you're going to connect the dots before the FBI builds their case. If you expose him, he loses everything. So he decided to eliminate the problem. Sophie stirred. Mommy, where are we going? I couldn't answer. My mind was racing. Where's Nathan? FBI safe house. I don't know exactly where. Somewhere in the Pacific Northwest. I want to see him. You will. But first, we need to make sure you're safe. Where are we going? A safe house in Virginia. Rural. Off the grid. You'll stay there until the FBI can arrest my father. How long will that take? Rebecca looked at Agent Torres. He met her eyes in the rearview mirror. We don't know, she said quietly. I looked out the window. We were on I-85 South. Darkness, trees, no other cars. Why should I trust you? Rebecca reached into her jacket, pulled out a phone, unlocked it, handed it to me. On the screen was a photo. Nathan, alive. He was standing outside a coffee shop, wearing a flannel shirt I'd bought him for his 30th birthday. His hair was longer, beard scruffy, but it was him. The timestamp read, February 18th, 2025, 10 days ago. I touched the screen, like I could reach through it and feel him. He's alive. Rebecca nodded. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. I wanted to tell you sooner, but the FBI wouldn't let me. They said it was too risky. I looked at her. You've known for 1.5 years that Nathan was alive, and you let me grieve. I know. You let me think I was a widow. You watched your parents throw me out. You watched them threaten to take my daughter. And you said nothing. I know. I don't know if I can forgive you for that. I don't expect you to. Sophie was falling back asleep. I stroked her hair, tried to keep my hands from shaking. How do I know you're not lying? You don't. How do I know this isn't some elaborate setup? How do I know you didn't bring me here to finish what your father started? Rebecca's voice was steady. Because if I wanted you dead, Angela, you'd already be dead. Agent Torres glanced back. We're 40 minutes out. I leaned my head against the cold window, watched the trees blur past. Nathan was alive. My husband. The man I'd mourned for 2 years. The man I'd cried over, screamed over, built a shrine for in my mind. He was alive, and he hadn't come home. We arrived at 4:38 a.m. The safe house was a small cabin. 1 story, wood siding, tin roof, surrounded by trees. No neighbors, no streetlights, just darkness and silence. Agent Torres unlocked the door, turned on the lights. The inside was sparse. A couch, a small kitchen, 2 bedrooms. Everything looked temporary, like a place you stayed when you had no choice. There's food in the fridge, Rebecca said. Enough for a week. Don't go outside. Don't try to leave. If you do, they'll find you in 6 hours, and I won't be able to help. When can I see Nathan? Soon. That's not an answer. Rebecca looked exhausted. I know you don't trust me. I wouldn't either. But I'm trying to keep you alive, Angela. Please believe that. She turned to leave. I grabbed her wrist. Why? Why what? Why are you helping me? You could have stayed silent, kept your job, kept your family. Instead, you're risking everything. Why? Rebecca pulled her hand away. Because Nathan was the only person in my family who ever treated me like I mattered. And because I've watched you suffer for 2 years. I can't let you die, too. She walked out. Agent Torres and Agent Chen followed. The door closed. I heard the lock click. I tried the handle, It didn't turn. Sophie woke up. Mommy, it's okay, baby. We're safe. Where are we? Somewhere new. She looked around, started to cry. I held her, rocked her, whispered that everything would be okay, but I wasn't sure I believed it. The first 3 days were quiet. Sophie and I fell into a routine. Wake up, breakfast, coloring books, lunch, nap, dinner, bedtime. I explored the house. The kitchen had basic supplies: pasta, canned soup, peanut butter. The bedrooms had clean sheets, but no personal items. The bathroom had soap and towels, but no medicine cabinet. There was no TV, no phone, no internet. I felt like a prisoner. On the third night, I couldn't sleep. I got up, walked through the house. That's when I noticed it. A small black dot on the ceiling, in the corner of the living room. I stood on a chair, looked closer. A camera. I searched the rest of the house, found 2 more, one in the hallway, one in the kitchen. Rebecca was watching me. On the 4th day, I heard Rebecca's voice. She was outside, on the phone. I pressed my ear to the door. She doesn't suspect anything, Rebecca said. She thinks I'm helping her. A pause. No, I told her Nathan's alive. She believes it. Another pause. I don't care if it's cruel. It's working. She's compliant. She's not trying to leave. My blood went cold. How long do I need to keep her here? Pause. Fine, another week. But if he doesn't testify by then, I'm done. She hung up. I stepped back from the door. My heart was pounding. Rebecca wasn't protecting me. She was keeping me prisoner. And Nathan, if he was even alive, was being used as bait. I needed to get out. I waited until nightfall. Sophie was asleep. I packed a bag. Quietly, a change of clothes, snacks, her doll. I tried the front door, locked from the outside. The windows were sealed. I couldn't open them. I went to the kitchen, found a knife, slid it between the window frame and the latch. Pried. The latch snapped. The window opened. Cold air rushed in. I lifted Sophie. She woke up groggy. Mommy, what are you doing? We're leaving, baby. Stay quiet. I climbed out first, then pulled Sophie through. We were in the middle of nowhere. No roads, no lights, just trees. I didn't know which direction to go. I picked one, started walking. We'd made it maybe 50 yards when I heard the engine. Headlights cut through the trees. Rebecca's voice, amplified by a megaphone. Angela, stop. I kept running. There's nowhere to go. You're 2 miles from the nearest road. If you keep going, you'll get lost. Sophie will freeze. I stopped. Sophie was crying, shivering. Rebecca walked toward us, alone. No agents. Come back inside. You're not protecting me. You're holding me hostage. I'm doing both. What does that mean? Rebecca sighed. Come inside. I'll explain everything, I promise. I didn't move. Angela, please. I know you're scared. I know you don't trust me. But if you run, you'll die out here. And so will Sophie. I looked at my daughter. Her lips were blue. I had no choice. We went back inside. Rebecca sat across from me, hands folded. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. You lied to me, I said. I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you everything. You said Nathan was alive. He is. Then why are you keeping me here? Rebecca leaned forward. Because my father doesn't just want you dead, Angela. He wants to make sure Nathan never testifies. And the only way to do that is to use you and Sophie as leverage. Leverage for what? Nathan's supposed to testify in 2 weeks. Federal grand jury. If he does, my father goes to prison for 18 years, minimum. So Douglas is trying to force Nathan's hand. If Nathan testifies, you and Sophie disappear. If Nathan stays silent, you live. I felt sick. So you brought me here to use me as bait. I brought you here to keep you alive. The FBI knows about the hit. They were going to put you in protective custody anyway, but they needed 48 hours to get the paperwork. I didn't have 48 hours. The man my father hired was already in Virginia. So I took you myself. Without FBI authorization. Rebecca's silence confirmed it. You stole a car. You lied to those agents. You kidnapped me. I saved your life. By locking me in a house and watching me through cameras? The cameras aren't for me, they're for the FBI. My handler, Sarah Vance, insisted. She said if I was going to do this off the books, she needed to monitor the situation. Where is she now? Probably on her way here to fire me. As if on cue, headlights flooded the driveway. A car pulled up. A woman stepped out. Mid-30s, short hair, FBI jacket. Rebecca stood. That's Sarah. The door opened. Sarah Vance walked in. She looked furious. Rebecca, what the hell were you thinking? I was thinking Angela was about to get killed. You stole a bureau vehicle. You impersonated agents. You moved a potential witness without authorization. Do you have any idea how much trouble you're in? I don't care. Sarah turned to me. Mrs. Ferris, I'm Special Agent Sarah Vance. I'm sorry you got caught up in this mess. Is Nathan alive? Sarah hesitated. Yes. Relief and rage hit me at the same time. Where is he? I can't tell you that. Why not? Because until Douglas Ferris is arrested, Nathan is still in danger. And so are you. Then arrest Douglas. We're trying, but we need more evidence. Right now, all we have is Nathan's testimony and some financial records. A good defense lawyer will shred that in court. We need Douglas to incriminate himself. How? Sarah looked at Rebecca, then back at me. We need you to help us. Sarah pulled out a laptop, opened a file. On the screen was an audio recording. She hit play. Douglas's voice. The woman and the kid. Both. Make it look like an accident. I'll wire the second half after it's done. A man's voice, heavily accented. It will be clean, no questions. Douglas. Good. I want this finished by the end of the month. The recording stopped. We have this, Sarah said. But it's not enough. A lawyer will argue it's taken out of context. That the woman and the kid could mean anyone. We need Douglas to admit, on record, that he's talking about you. And we need him to explain why. You want me to wear a wire? Yes. And talk to Douglas? Yes. The man who just tried to have me killed. We'll have a team on standby. You'll be safe. I laughed. It came out bitter. Safe. Like I was safe at the motel? That was different. We didn't know the timeline. Now we do. And if something goes wrong? It won't. You can't promise that. Sarah closed the laptop. You're right. I can't. But I can promise that if we don't do this, Douglas walks. And the next time he tries to kill you, we might not get there in time. I looked at Rebecca. What do you think? I think it's a terrible idea. But I also think it's the only option we have. Sophie was asleep in the bedroom. I thought about her waking up without a mother, growing up thinking I'd abandoned her. If I do this, I want something in return. What? I want to see Nathan. Before I risk my life, I want to know he's real. Sarah and Rebecca exchanged glances. We can arrange a video call, Sarah said. No, in person. That's not possible. Then I'm not doing it. Sarah's jaw tightened. Mrs. Ferris, my name is Angela, and I've spent 2 years grieving a man who isn't dead. I've been thrown out of my home, accused of cheating, threatened with losing my daughter. And now you want me to confront a man who hired someone to murder me. So yes, I want to see my husband in person, or you can find someone else to be your bait. Sarah stood, paced, finally nodded. Fine, I'll make it happen, but it'll take a few days. I'll wait. 3 days later, Sarah came back. He's here. My heart stopped. Where? Outside. I ran to the door, threw it open. Nathan was standing in the driveway. He looked different, thinner, older, but it was him. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. He walked toward me, slowly, like he was afraid I'd disappear. Angel! His voice broke me. I ran to him. He caught me, held me so tight I thought my ribs would crack. You're alive, I whispered. I'm alive. Why didn't you come home? I wanted to. Every day. But they said if I contacted you, Douglas would know, and he'd kill you. I thought you were dead. I know, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Sophie appeared in the doorway. She stared at Nathan, eyes wide. Daddy? Nathan's face crumpled. He knelt down, opened his arms. Sophie ran to him. He held her, sobbed into her hair. I stood there, watching my family come back together. And I made a decision. I'd wear the wire, I'd face Douglas. Because no one was taking this away from me again. 2 days later, Sarah fitted me with the wire. It was small, clipped to the inside of my bra. A microphone no bigger than a shirt button. "It's voice-activated," she said. "Just act natural, get him talking. Ask him why he wants you dead. If he admits it, we move in. What if he finds the wire?" "He won't, just stay calm." Nathan was there. He looked terrified. "You don't have to do this," he said. "Yes, I do." "Angela, if I don't, he wins. And I'm not letting him win." Nathan kissed me. "Be careful." "I will." Sarah handed me a phone. "We'll be listening. If anything goes wrong, say the word starfish. That's the abort signal. We'll come in immediately." "Starfish, got it." Rebecca drove me to Douglas's house. She parked a block away, looked at me. "You sure about this?" "No. You can still back out." "I know." She squeezed my hand. "For what it's worth, I think you're the bravest person I've ever met. Or the stupidest. Maybe both." I got out of the car, walked to the house, knocked on the door. Douglas answered. He looked surprised. "Angela, we need to talk." He stepped aside, let me in. The house looked the same. Mahogany table, crystal glasses, everything in its place. "Where's Sophie?" he asked. "Safe." "With who?" "That's not your concern." Douglas's eyes narrowed. "What do you want?" "I want to know why you're trying to kill me." He didn't flinch, didn't deny it. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Yes, you do. You hired someone, a man with an Eastern European accent. You told him to make it look like an accident. You're delusional." "Am I?" I pulled out my phone, played the recording Sarah had given me. Douglas's voice filled the room. When it ended, he smiled. "That proves nothing. It proves you're a murderer. It proves I had a conversation. Context matters, Angela. Any lawyer will tell you that." "Then give me the context. Who are you talking about?" Douglas poured himself a drink. Bourbon. Neat. "You've become a problem. You hired a lawyer. You started digging into Sentinel Maritime. You threatened my company, my reputation, my livelihood. So you decided to kill me." "I decided to protect my family." "By murdering your son's wife?" "Nathan is dead." "No, he's not." Douglas froze, glass halfway to his lips. "What did you say?" "Nathan didn't die in the storm. He survived, and he's been testifying against you." Douglas set the glass down, slowly. "You're lying." "Am I?" His face went pale. "He's alive?" "Yes." "Where?" "Somewhere you'll never find him." Douglas's hands shook. "That's impossible." "He found the maintenance logs, Douglas. He knows you've been supplying substandard parts. He knows about the $6 million. He knows everything." Douglas sat down, heavily. "If Nathan's alive, why hasn't he come forward?" "Because the FBI told him to wait. They wanted to build a case. And now they have one." "What kind of case?" "Fraud, negligence, attempted murder. Take your pick." Douglas's expression hardened. "You can't prove any of that." "Nathan can. He's testifying in 2 weeks. And when he does, you're going to prison." Douglas stood, walked toward me. "Then I guess I'll have to make sure he doesn't testify." "How are you going to do that?" "By making sure you and Sophie disappear. Nathan won't testify if it means losing his family." "You'd kill your own granddaughter?" "I'd do whatever it takes." I felt the wire against my skin, felt the weight of his words. "You just admitted it," I said quietly. Douglas frowned. "Admitted what?" "That you're willing to kill me and Sophie to stop Nathan from testifying." Realization dawned on his face. "You're wearing a wire." He lunged for me. The door burst open. FBI agents flooded the room. Sarah Vance. 4 others. Guns drawn. "Douglas Ferris, you're under arrest." Douglas didn't resist. He just stared at me. "You set me up." "You tried to kill me." "I did it for the family." "You destroyed it." They cuffed him, rid him his rights. As they led him out, he looked back. "Nathan will never forgive you for this. Nathan's the one who turned you in." Douglas's face went white. He didn't say another word. James was arrested an hour later, at his office on the naval base. He didn't go quietly. He shouted, threatened, tried to claim diplomatic immunity. It didn't work. Diane wasn't charged. Sarah said she didn't know about the fraud. She'd believed Douglas was innocent. When she found out the truth, she filed for divorce. Rebecca was fired from the Defense Intelligence Agency. She'd violated protocol, stolen bureau resources, acted without authorization. But she wasn't prosecuted. Sarah put in a word for her, said she'd saved my life. Rebecca and I sat on the porch of the safe house one last time. "What will you do now?" I asked. "I don't know. Find a new job. Start over." "I'm sorry you lost everything." "I didn't lose everything. I lost a job. I still have my integrity. For what it's worth, I forgive you." Rebecca looked at me, eyes wet. "Thank you." 6 months later, August 2025, Douglas Ferris was sentenced to 18 years in federal prison. Fraud, attempted murder conspiracy, obstruction of justice. James got 12 years. Accessory to attempted murder, hacking, falsifying government records. Sentinel Maritime was dissolved. The contracts were terminated. The Coast Guard launched a full review of their supplier network. Nathan was released from witness protection. We moved to Portland, Oregon, far from Virginia, far from the memories. We rented a small house near the coast. Nothing fancy, but it was ours. Sophie started kindergarten. She made friends, stopped having nightmares. Nathan got a job as a maritime safety consultant, helping companies avoid the kind of corruption his father had built. On a Sunday in late August, we took Sophie to the beach. She ran ahead, chasing seagulls, laughing. Nathan and I walked behind her, hand in hand. "Do you ever regret it?" he asked. "Regret what?" "Fighting back. You could have walked away. Started over." "I did start over. I just made sure I got justice first." He smiled. "I love you, Angel." "I love you too." Sophie found a starfish, washed up on the sand. She ran back to us, held it up. "Look, Daddy, you promised you'd bring me one." Nathan knelt down. "I did, didn't I?" "Does this count?" "It counts." She beamed, ran back to the water. Nathan looked at me. "We made it." "We did." He kissed me. The sun was setting. The sky was pink and gold. The ocean stretched out forever. I thought I'd lost everything. Turns out I just had to fight for what was mine. If you're still with me, thank you for listening. This story took a lot out of me to tell, but I wanted you to know the truth. That sometimes the people who are supposed to protect you are the ones you need protecting from. That courage isn't fearlessness. It's doing the right thing even when you're terrified. And that family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's the people who show up when everyone else walks away. Drop a comment and let me know where you're listening from. I'd love to hear from you. And if you want to hear more stories like this, stories about people who refuse to give up, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thanks for being here. Until next time.